guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Juliette, and today I'm going to be channeling specifically angels and higher dimensions this time. If you didn't watch the last reading, I basically have been shifting away from ancestors just because I was given notice that I no longer have to tap into that energy for my reading specifically, that it's time to move beyond the human condition and focus on soul evolution, soul growth. Okay, so yeah, that's where the channel's heading. So hopefully you guys resonate and stick with it, just hang around, just be here, and maybe the messages will resonate for you. And if they don't, it's okay. There's plenty of other tarot readers out here. And so, yeah, let's just hop right into it, all right? So collective, let's see what your spirit guides and angels have for you. Hi guys, I just wanted to remind you that I have my own crystal shop online. It's called crystallist.com, where you can buy ethical crystals and ethically sourced crystals. That's what I mean. And they're filled with light energy by me. And so they're ready to use for whatever manifestations or cleansing that you need it for. I also offer not free, these are free, but I offer tarot readings on the website as well. And there's 3 types that you can choose from: the general reading, which is the quintessential, the starseed reading, and the lovers. So you guys can check them all out on my website, and thank you so much. Okay, here we go. So the back of the deck is the King of Cups. And what this means is that you guys are tapping into a very intuitive space right now. You guys might have felt intuitive before, but now it's like you guys have mastered your intuition, learning how to heed the call when it's when the phone's ringing, and also you're able to put action into things. There's like a flow, right? The King of Cups, he's all about the flow. And so he goes with the flow, but there's a sense of not like a lost kind of energy when it comes to flow. It's more like I'm allowing the divine to work through me, and I know they will take me to somewhere that feels good in my heart, that feels right in my soul, right? And so, and then with the 10 of Cups as your first card, you know, you guys are really getting everything that you've wanted, because you've worked on your foundation. You have figured out who you are. You figured out you know, life isn't about learning how to control every aspect of you. It's just learning how to manage certain aspects of you when it comes out, right? I think we all have like wild cards internally that some of us talk about, some of us don't, okay? But all of us have one. And you've learned to bring balance into that, and because you've learned how to do that, balance is coming into your life. Balance is showing up in your relationships. I think now it's a very beautiful time where the relationships that you're in are just flourishing, right? And this has to do with romantic, because this is 10 of Cups. And so that's all about creating your family, creating that home that you've always wanted. I know I feel really close to that energy right now, so it feels really good, right? And so 10 of Cups, you're just gonna have it all. You're gonna have the partner that you've always wanted. You're gonna have the child that you've always wanted, if that's what you want. And if it's not a child, it's something that you and your partner co-create together, and you guys create such a beautiful harmony. I'm seeing harmony, and it's because you guys have let go of the need to control every aspect of this connection, right? Maybe before it felt really destabilizing to to think about a 10 of Cups situation, a divine union, right? It destabilized you because there were some things in your childhood that you had to address. And these things you just, you haven't had the chance to yet. But with this person showing up in your life, or this person that has been in your life, you guys are learning how to not only work with each other, but learning how to celebrate each other. Because before, I'm seeing that celebrating each other might have been really difficult because you were dealing with a lot of insecurities, right? So it wasn't really easy to be happy for the other person when they're off kind of they're going off in their own trajectory, and it's really beautiful to watch them. But then also there was like a lot of fear that came through you at the same time. And so those things came out at that time because it was time to heal it. It was time to address it and realize that, that fear, that insecurity really doesn't have a hold over you as you had initially thought. Right? That's what confronting your fear is all about. It's to realize that, oh, that has no control over me at all. Actually, I'm actually able to navigate it quite easily. Of course, it may be a bit challenging, but it's not nearly as challenging as I had been making it out to be. And so many of you guys have been addressing all these little things, and they are like, they're just little bits on your journey that you're just tweaking, and suddenly this last tweak that you've made made sense in your brain. Okay, I'm sorry if that made no sense to you, but something made sense to you. Okay, after this like last click, there was something that just made so much sense to you that you were like, oh my gosh, I get it, I understand, and I can deal with it. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And so that's exactly what you guys have been doing. You guys have been confronting the things that, you kind of been shying away from. And because of that, you have let go of the need to put on a mask. You realize that you're safe, that you're a safe person enough to not put on a mask. Because maybe some of you have deemed yourselves like unsafe. And so you put on this mask to, in your mind, it was to protect other people from you. But really it was just your insecurities that you didn't want to let out, which is natural. I don't think all of us are like, look at my insecurities, right? No, it's just like, now you've just realized that you're not a dangerous person, that you're not, like being possessed or anything. Maybe before you guys dealt with a lot of maybe it was one thing, maybe it was like sex or something that you guys were just like unable to control, but then you realize like, oh, that I just thought it was out of control, but that was just a decision I was making because I didn't think it had that much weight in my life. But the minute I stopped that, I realized that I actually do have control over it, that it's not that heavy of a weight to carry, that I am actually a lot more centered in myself, and I'm not so left to my own vices, kind of like that. You've really like come to understand yourself, and that is so cool, right? When we're able to like actually understand our own mechanisms, our own pathways, and when you start making sense to you, you just feel more of a stability within yourself, right? And the stability leads you to make better choices. And you guys have been making the correct choices because 10 of Cups comes out, and this card is literally like happy, like Cinderella gets her man kind of happy, So anyways, you guys are doing a great job. Let's pull out some oracle cards to see what else Spirit has for you guys. So it really seems like divine union is here. Oracle, wait for important information. You guys have really tapped into your oracle side. I think because of the journey that you've been on, if you guys resonated with my twin flame content, you know, this whole journey has really led you to take care of yourself, to understand yourself, to, you know, learn how to love properly as well, and not just rely on those human indulgences and human vices. You know, you guys don't rely on those things anymore. Maybe you guys drank a lot, and now that you guys are kind of like lessening that, or maybe you guys partied a lot too. So that combo is just really fun for, like, you know, moments where you're partying and drinking. But then you've learned how to pull back when you're not in those settings, because maybe it kind of like seeped out of the party setting and became kind of like normalized. But now you're pulling back and you're realizing that it doesn't have that kind of hold over you that you thought it did, because you associated it with something positive, right? The partying. If you go to festivals, you know, there's a huge association, a positive association with that, and so you've kind of like taken that apart. You're like, okay, festivals are festivals, drinking is drinking, like doing it together is great at the time, but it doesn't need to be that all the time. It can be balanced. It can come back to a center that feels more in control, like you're more in control of you. And because of that, you guys are building these routines that are going to really benefit you in the long run, because these are really healthy routines that you're stepping into, because you're not necessarily like ripping away the vices and being like, no, I'm going cold turkey, I don't want to do it anymore, I'm gonna just be abstinent from it. You've just like lessened and lessened and lessened, right? Because that's how I dealt with my my drinking. I'm a millennial, so I was partying like 3 times a week, going to breweries, cider places, everywhere that had alcohol. Okay, I was drinking like a lot, and the way I stopped wasn't me being like, oh, alcohol is evil, I want to stop right now. No, it was me just being like, oh, I'm just not going to drink when it's not a social setting, or I'm just not going to drink when I'm feeling bad about myself. And so, or like, because I used it for celebratory reasons, so I was just like, I'm just going to keep that with the parties. You know, if that's a positive association with parties, I'll keep it there. It doesn't need to come home with me. So you know, after doing that, I just didn't rely on it to have a good time. I realized that I'm actually, whether I love myself a bit too much or something, but I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of fun, like sober. I like it. I like being sober. It's great. I still can connect with people. I can still be open with people. I can still show that bubbly side of me without the vice, you know. And that's how I dealt with my alcoholism. I don't even know if I could call it that, but I think every millennial at that point was like an alcoholic. And so I say that I was low-key an alcoholic, but that was like another part of me. And so yeah, now I don't even drink that often. I'll drink at festivals, like, yeah, I'll go ham, but but outside of that, I'm not really doing anything. I'm just doing the weed, and that's good enough. That's California sober, baby. So that's fine for me. So anyways, back to the reading. Maybe that's really important for you guys. Maybe you guys are going through like a sobriety, like you're just cleansing your body and it feels good, and you're realizing how good it feels to just have a clean body, right? Oh, I didn't plug in my speaker. Well, hopefully the audio isn't too bad today. Autumn, release the old and rest. Yeah, that's exactly what you guys are doing. You guys are releasing the old habits. You're allowing yourself to rest. You're not really making it a huge scene. You're just like, oh, I'm just cutting back a little. I'm just cutting back a little. And then eventually you're not really doing it anymore, you know? It really is that easy. Let's see, one more from this deck. I don't know why they just want me to use this one. Spring. See your seeds grow. See, so you guys are developing these really healthy routines for yourself. Maybe you guys are eating more healthy. Maybe you guys are actually like eating at home again, and it feels healthy. It feels good in your body. It doesn't feel sludgy. It doesn't feel like you have a really heavy weight on you, you know? You're really planting these seeds, these intentions of health and growth. And your body is really receiving that in a kind way. And they feel so, your body just feels so respected right now that easing into healthier habits becomes easier over time. Right? Maybe in the beginning, it's a bit difficult to think about healthy as like fun or like something that you'd want to do. But now you're realizing like, oh, I actually really do enjoy being healthy. Okay, you guys got 3 cards in the angelic oracles. So you guys got amazing grace. I am in control of my own energy. That's exactly what we've been saying, right? You feel more in control of yourself. You feel happier doing it too. 2 white doves, my angels are waiting for me. So yeah, divine union is definitely around the corner because you're implementing healthier habits. Something that before I think you didn't see the value in it. There really wasn't people around you that advocated for those kind of things for yourself, right? People weren't like, oh, you should be healthier for yourself. And they just see you like, let's just use drinking. They'd see you drinking and they're like, oh, he's a fun person. Let's keep him that way. But then, you know, I think you met someone, your divine counterpart, that really pushed you to be like, love yourself because I love you. Love yourself. If I love you, why can't you love you? You need to learn how to love you so that when I come to love you, it won't feel like a freaking foreign language, you know, because our capacity to accept love is only as good as how we're able to show it for ourselves, right? And that's why self-love is extremely important if something like divine union is something that you're after. Because divine union doesn't ask you to sacrifice yourself. It asks you to love yourself. It's kind of different than what media is saying, right? They say like, oh, if you want to love yourself, you got to separate. And it's like, like love yourself first, for sure. But don't use it as an excuse to isolate. Use it as a means to be building yourself to create something bigger than you, right? It's asking you to step out of your own ego and accept another and love them just as much as you can love yourself, right? It's just about capacity, how much you're able to hold. And because you're showing yourself love, you're actually gaining the ability to love even healthier and stronger and more true. It's more aligned to the truth of the universe, right? I think that's why I love the divine union journey. Like, I don't necessarily love everything that goes on with twin flames, but I love the truth, the universal truth of a divine union, because it asks you to love yourself and love another, and which is completely possible, right? But it's only possible when we're able to show ourselves that love first, right? So that's where you guys are. You guys have learned to love yourself through these more healthy approaches and learning that you're actually very much in control of your own energy. You're not left to your own devices. I don't know. Maybe people like around you at the time were just like, oh, it's just the way it is, right? It's like, well, actually, no, that's not actually the way it is. There's different ways of doing things, of dealing with things, of processing things, right? And so, yeah, you guys have definitely entered a new group. Either that or you guys have isolated to kind of hear your own wisdom through all of the chatter, right? Maybe a lot of people around you have a lot of opinions about everything. And so you're taking a step away from those people, and you're either entering a new space of people or you're entering your own space where you're hearing better advice. You're hearing better tips and tricks as to how to elevate in this world that's not so ego driven and so physically focused, right? You're seeing the value of soul growth, and that's really beautiful. Angel whispers, my angels are always speaking to me. Yeah, so I'm seeing that in this time of stepping away from the old people, you've come to realize like your intuition had been leading you this entire time. That angels have been with you this entire time. They have been guiding you this entire time. You thought you were alone. You thought you were on your own, that no one was listening to you. But in reality, everything was being witnessed. Everything was being observed. Excuse me. And you were able to quiet your surroundings enough to be able to hear that guidance. Right? To hear, because intuition and the truth, it always comes in whispers. It's never loud. It's never abrasive. Well, sometimes it's abrasive, but it's never just in your face like, this is what you gotta do. No, it's always just quieter. It's like, where do you feel peace? And not just apathy, but peace. Where do you feel your emotions, but in a balanced way? Where are you allowed to express yourself clearly without everyone else having to share their own opinions? You know, it's within yourself, and you realize this. And so you guys are realizing just how guided you are, and that this divine union that you're coming into, it's actually a huge like validating factor as to how guided you are. I think before you guys really assumed that, you know, all was lost, that you were on your own, that everything that was done to you, you only came out of it because of you, because of the sheer pure will and strength of you. But now you're realizing like, oh, it's because I had faith that there was more for me. I had a knowing that everything was going to be okay. Even when it wasn't in the physical, I knew that it was going to be okay no matter what. That my internal body, as long as I'm here with me, I'm okay. Right? And that sense of peace within yourself was, I don't want to say like, I don't want to just give it all up to, you know, like one entity, one being. But you tapped into the truth. You tapped into universal truth, which is love, right? Which is love for yourself. That was your self-love. I'm always telling people like, no matter how defensive they are, no matter how aggressive they can come off, that aggression, that defensiveness, why does it come up? It's because you love yourself, and you don't want to, harm yourself, right? If you know people are harming you, you get defensive, right? Because why? You're worth protecting. You're worth protecting. And you knew that at the time. And you know, you may have been labeled as selfish or just uncaring or whatever, but at the time you didn't even know really what self-love looked like. And that was probably the first form of it, your aggression towards people that, you know, that were just doing you wrong and being passive about it and trying to like make it come off like it was okay. It wasn't okay. And your body knew it. And that's why that aggression came up. It's because you were protecting yourself. Why? Because you love yourself. Okay? So this self-love has always been there. It's just that you didn't know that it could manifest in the form of defensiveness or aggression, right? And now you're realizing it's like, oh, I was protecting myself. I was doing things to shield myself because I inherently love myself and I don't want harm to come to me. Even if I've made a mistake, I don't want people to harm me because I can realize my mistake, but I love myself enough to not become a sacrificial lamb just because of a mistake. Right? And if others around you wanted you to sacrifice yourself, your sense of self-worth, they really attacked your sense of self-worth. That's what I'm hearing. They kept going after, like, well, you don't deserve this then because of the way you are. And so people of your past really try to attack your self-worth, and that's where the defensiveness comes from. That's where the closed off comes from. It's not because you're not a loving person, it's because you do love yourself, right? That's why whenever I approach people that are really closed off, are really just in their own world, I understand that it's because they've just been hurt and they love themselves enough to not open up because they have a very tender inside, right? It's like, well, why would they be defensive? It's because they have a sensitive heart. It's because their sensitivities are actually quite sensitive. And so in order to protect, in order to love oneself, one needs to know when is the right time to retreat. And I think when you retreated, people had very strong opinions about who you were and why you were doing that, and like trying to pinpoint you as the problem. And maybe you did make mistakes and maybe there were things that you needed to work on, but in no ways does that mean that you must sacrifice yourself to look good for them. Oh my God, I really scratched myself. Let's just pull that up. You guys have really learned like just how sensitive you are, right? Like this scratch on me is kind of crazy. You guys have just realized like, oh, I'm actually quite a sensitive person. I have a very strong heart. I love very deeply and strongly, and that's why I'm very slow to approach. I'm very defensive in nature because I've dealt with people that were just harming me and not having my best interest in mind, and in actuality wanted me to sacrifice myself for them, but I wasn't willing to. And so you guys have kind of had this trade-off where you're willing to look like the bad guy because you know what there is to protect, and it doesn't matter what people think about you. It's the fact that you are worth protecting. You are worth loving. You are worth protecting. You are worth it. Okay, you are inherently worthy of all these things that people were telling you you weren't. And that made you bloom. That made you completely understand the language of love, because now you understand how you're doing it for yourself, right? I had that realization a couple of years back before I started my self-love journey. I realized like there were so many parts of me where I was like, do I even love myself? Do I even like, am I even worth loving? Because I was just around a lot of people that wanted me to just kind of lay there and take every punch that they wanted to throw at me, and I should have just accepted it because I am the bad person, because I'm not a loving person, right? And so I just kind of struggled with self-love for a long time because of the people that I was around, because their natural response is like, oh, I don't want to take any blame, so you take it because I know you can and you will, and you're going to punish yourself for it, so I want to see it, right? So that was where I started. And then I realized like, because I was also angry all the time in that time period of my life, and a lot of people were just like, oh, that's just how she is, she's just angry all the time, that's just her nature, so just try to stay away from her. But in reality, it was because of the dumb ass things people were doing around me and expecting me to just be okay with. I, like, maybe consciously I was okay with it, but subconsciously my brain was like, heck no, 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 no. I don't accept that at all. But because my consciousness was saying like, okay, fine, it became a battle internally. And that's where the aggression came from, because like, why don't you love yourself enough to protect yourself right now? Why don't you love yourself enough to stay away from the people that would rather condemn you than to just allow you to make a mistake? You know, so the aggression is literally a manifestation of you wanting to protect yourself, but things just aren't aligned where you can and come off as a good person still. And so there was a huge part of me that had to shift from being like the 10 out of 10 daughter, partner, friend, into a 0 out of 10, right? Because I needed to pour all of that back into myself, and I needed to realize like, no, I'm gonna love myself so freaking hard. It's gonna come off aggressive as hell because there's years of not loving myself, right? And so it's gonna come off really strong, and it's gonna come off like quite abrasive, but I don't care. I've given everybody else love, now it's my turn. And if you don't like it, there's a door. See yourself out. I'm not gonna say bye, you know? And so there was a huge part in the self-love journey that does manifest in aggressiveness and anger, and it just kind of like all pours out, right? And it doesn't look great at all. But in reality, it's a very empowering move for you. It's a very empowering chapter, transition period for you, because you're realizing that you're worth protecting, that you're worth loving, that you are just worthy. And that if anybody stands in the way of you feeling worthy of love, they're not worth it. They're not worth it. They're not worth the time or effort or love. Because your love is, you know, like Dom Dalla says, just save it up. Save it up for the right person. Don't give it away to the wrong person, because that's just going to drain you. Yeah, you guys have just come into a lot of love for yourself because you've realized how you've been loving yourself. Before, you didn't realize that your aggression was actually a manifested way of protecting and loving yourself. But now you've come to understand that, oh, I had to, because of those trifling people that I was surrounding myself with willingly, right? So there was like a level of understanding that your situation needed to change, the people around you needed to change, that you needed to change, but all of it was very rooted in love. And because of that, you're coming into divine union, because now you understand love, because you speak the language of love. And you know, you can see things through the lens of love rather than just what was before, which was what? Public acceptance, public favor, reputation. Those things are so fragile. Those things are the most fragile things in this world. A reputation, how people see you, how people perceive you. That shit doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, as long as you love yourself, things will go your way. Things will go your way. And, you know, people are going to be pressed, and you might be hearing about it right now, and that's why I'm talking about it. But know that, let them be pressed. Become iconic. F them. Don't consider them at all. Because did they consider you when they wanted you to sacrifice yourself? No. They wanted you to lay down and take it. So now they can lay down and take it. Except you're not really doing anything to them other than walking away. Your rejection of them is, I'm hearing, harms them just as much as like a physical assault would. I don't know why. Like they treasure reputation so much. They treasure being seen in a good light so much that you walking away, because they know you're a great person, by the way. They know you're like sent from heaven. You're an angel. And so the fact that you walked away gave them the awareness that they were trying to sacrifice you, that they're unworthy of you, that you are now loving yourself, something that they could have opted into doing, but they chose not to. And so because they chose not to, they chose to see themselves out. And so a lot of people are just gonna have to deal with that really like a big understanding that something really wonderful walked out of their lives because of them. And that's something that, you know, they have to kind of deal with every day. And because they're in their ego, they might try to ruin your reputation even further. Even when you're not around, they're going to just use it as an excuse to really spread their own narrative and their own side and try to solidify that story above yours. But honestly, it doesn't matter. Because if you're removing yourself away from that group of people, your reputation in that group doesn't matter. Right? People want to make it seem like their opinion of you is so important. But in reality, I don't give a crap about how people see me. If you want to see me in a bad light, I think it's kind of funny because they create a lore around you know, my name that I'm not really a part of, that isn't really true, but here they are spreading it like wildfire. And I'm hearing it in the sidelines and I'm just like, that's crazy. It's like, I did that? And me, when I'm just sitting on my couch journaling, I did that to you? That's crazy. Me, when I'm just trying to learn how to love myself better and I'm taking time away because I need to like learn how to listen to my own intuition, and you're saying that I'm an enemy because I don't give you the time of day anymore, that I'm the worst and selfish. It's just like, okay, I'll be that character in your story. I don't really care to really change it. Because at the end of the day, it's just a story. At the end of the day, we're all responsible for ourselves. And the stories other people have over us is just to overcompensate either the rejection, the misalignment, right? Because really the only reason why you're walking away from these people is because they harmed you, because they don't align with you, because they would rather see you fall than rise. And, you know, inherently those people, they're not good to keep around. And so realize that even though you might be, you know, on a little bit of an isolation period right now, that maybe your friends just aren't seeing you in the best light anymore, just realize they're not your friends anymore. That if they're willing to create a narrative around you finding self-love as something so bad, then they're not worth keeping around. Because you're only going to continue and they're only going to get more and more upset, right? So it's just like, all right, bye. I don't know. Nothing in this world is really worth attaching one's sense of worth over, right? I think maybe you guys relate, but things have always been threatened over me. And every time I chose myself, you know, my guardian, my mom, or, you know, I don't want to call them out, but they'd just be like, well, then you're out on the streets, then you're homeless. Classic Asian parent thing, right? It's like, well, if you don't listen to me, then you're homeless. So I was given that a whole bunch. So I don't even really attach myself to the idea of shelter, of like a house being meaningful in any other way than being a shelter. And I don't attach myself to all of the things that I own because they're just things. They're just like, some of them are fun to have and some of them like like shelter, gives me an amazing, amazing life. But am I only worthy because I have a house? No. Am I only inherently worthy because I have, I don't know, things? No. I've always just been worthy. Like, I don't consider homeless people less worthy than someone that has a home, you know, because I've met a lot of beautiful, beautiful souls that have had to deal with homelessness. And I've been threatened with homelessness my whole life. So, so there is no attachment to the idea that you're only worthy if you have certain items, if you have a certain amount in your bank account, if you have this or that, because none of those things matter. Life is going to be shifting, always. And I think right now you're just really detaching away from physical items and realizing that none of that really is proportionate to your inherent worthiness. That no matter what, you are always worthy of love. You're always worthy of respect. You're always just inherently worthy. And no one else, even if they try to ruin your reputation, even if they try to take away your items, take away things in this world, it doesn't mean that you're not worthy of leveling up, of loving yourself, of finding a deeper meaning in this nonsensical world. You can do whatever you want, right? And so, maybe you guys are going through a change, like a very physical change, and it's really hard for you because these things you've worked so hard for all these years, right? Like a home, maybe. And maybe it's like you're stepping away from an old relationship. You're stepping away from things that you just held on so tight to. And now you're letting it go, and you're starting to really feel this sense of freedom, this sense of, oh, I never needed those things. Oh, I've never relied on those things. Because even when you had those things, you might not have felt your best, right? And so, but now that you're kind of free from it, you're like, whoa, I feel so much better. All these things that I thought really mattered, and I clung on so hard to, the minute they left, I just felt so much better. And so there's almost like this peace inside of you. There's balance. There's love. You guys are doing really, 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 really well for yourself. I hope you realize that. I hope you guys give yourself the credit where credit is due and realize that you've been putting in the work for yourself. And it doesn't matter if other people are going to recognize it or not. It doesn't matter if you guys are getting praised for it or not. You guys are just doing it for yourself. And this may be like the first time you're just doing it for you. Right? So you're building this beautiful relationship with yourself. And because of that, you're coming closer to a divine union with someone that loves you for you, that sees your worthiness, that doesn't question it, that doesn't do things to dehumanize, destabilize, or anything of that sort. They're just there to love you, and they're there to support you, and they're there to help you elevate and grow. And that's a beautiful relationship in my eyes, right? It's not about things like, all those negative things. It's not about that. It's just because you see your inherent worthiness, you start attracting people that kind of already see that in others, right? So that's where I'm going to leave it off. I hope that this message helped you in any way. If it did, give this video a like. If you stayed to the end, put a heart in the comment section so I know that it was you. And subscribe to the channel if you like the way I read. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.